up, gentlemen? So the other day I get this frantic email from one of our friends that is super upset because he thinks that his Big Al has actually gotten smaller. And he wanted to know if there's anything specific I could think of that could be causing this horrible situation. And I thought to myself, yes, there are 10 manhood mistakes that are damaging Big Al and the twins that we're going over today. Gentlemen, if you're ready to be better to Big Al and the boys, why don't you drop me one of those? The first manhood mistake, messing up your package, gentlemen, is that you are fat. And there are two reasons why being overweight is horrible for Big Al and the boys. Number one, of course, is the size. The bigger you are, the smaller Big Al is actually going to be, because like what I've talked about before, think of this as Big Al, right? This is your body. As you gain fat, look what happens. Exactly. Your body fat pushes out, making Al little teeny weeny, gentlemen. You lose weight, of course, Big Al is going to be big, strong, and you're going to expose the man meat. Now, the second thing we got to talk about in terms of being overweight is testosterone production. When you are overweight, this is absolutely destroying your body's ability to produce testosterone. Testosterone, that mythical, magical male hormone that we want and that is amazing, is critical for Big Al being big, strong, your sex drive being awesome, but also sperm production. Speaking of testosterone, the second mistake, gentlemen, is taking any type of anabolic steroids or extra testosterone that you and your body do not need. Your thighs are going to look awesome, but your balls are going to look super small and tiny after you experience testicular atrophy, which is not super sexy. Now you're like, yo, why are my balls shrinking? The reason is because you're giving your body extra. Your body is amazing. Your balls, oh my God, they're so freaking smart. When your body is functioning properly, your balls are like, yo, I'm going to produce testosterone. But if you're going to give me extra, I don't want to work any harder than I have to, and so I'm going to shut down. The shutting down makes them shrink. Now, sometimes everything returns to normal and everything is all right, and your boys are like, all right, I'm back, baby. I'm back and I'm ready for action. But a lot of times they don't. You just got to understand that if you're going to roll the dice, sometimes those dice are not going to be as awesome. You know what I just did? Lowered my testosterone levels, because that's what happens when you drink out of plastics. Guys, a lot more data and research is coming out that shows the EDCs, or endocrine disrupting chemicals, that are actually found in plastics are leaching into the water that you're actually drinking. And unfortunately, these EDCs, or endocrine disrupting chemicals, are wreaking havoc on your reproductive action, not to mention your testosterone levels. And since we're talking about water, gentlemen, we got to talk about the fourth thing that is absolutely destroying Big Al's ability to be rock solid and gigantic, and that is dehydration. The majority of you, each and every one of you, not everybody, but most of you, are dehydrated. The problem is that when you're dehydrated, bad things happen. You don't have as much blood volume going through your body, which means you're not going to have as much blood flowing to the main vein. Cigarettes, all right, let's talk about that first. All right, cigarettes are horrible for Big Al because of the vasoconstriction that happens. The veins, they get tighter, it gets smaller, right? The smaller the veins are, the less blood that's actually able to get in, right? A lot of people that are experiencing ED are people that actually smoke. The next biggest manhood mistake that so many guys make that is absolutely damaging your package is wearing the wrong undies. All day your balls are being little geniuses, right? Up and down, regulation of the temperature. But if you're wearing tight underwear, boom, they're tucked up there. If they get too hot, they can't drop, they can't relax. Gentlemen, something else that's bad with tight underwear is that you sweat and you stink. It's a hot, meaty mess down your pants. And if you're just packed in there, right, and everything's all tight, you're gonna sweat. The more you sweat, it's dark, it's damp. The odor, gentlemen, here's the deal. If you wanna wear the best underwear in the business, you gotta hit that link down below and check out Sheath, today's video sponsor. Now, Sheath, you're thinking, yo, they just look like super sexy, badass boxer briefs. Here's the deal, gentlemen. It's all about the inside. Inside is where the magic happens. See that little pouch right there? You actually place your boys in there, and then you stick Big Al through that hole, all right? They're dual chambers, which means you're actually separating the boys from Big Al, which means not only are you going to be more comfortable, you're going to be drier, you're going to sweat less, you also are going to eliminate chafing. Not to mention, when you put on a pair of Sheath underwear, Big Al looks gigantic, with a capital gigantic. That's the thing that my wife, when I put on my Sheath for the first time, I was like, yo, mama, look. She's like, damn, like, seriously? It's amazing. All right, guys, the truth is, Sheath are the best underwear I have ever worn. Now, I know that you're probably like me. When I first saw it, right, that pouch, the hole, I'm like, is it comfortable? When you first put it on, it's a little bit weird, I gotta be honest. But then, as soon as you take a few steps, you're like, damn, it is the most comfortable underwear you will ever wear. Once you try a pair of sheath underwear, gentlemen, it literally is impossible to go back to standard, basic briefs or boxers. Because the truth is, these not only are crazy comfortable, they keep you drier. They keep you feeling incredible all day long. And that's the reason why the founder, Robert, actually invented sheath underwear. He was overseas in the desert, right? And all day he'd be walking around. It was hot, and he would get incredibly chafed down in his junk area, right? And so we started experimenting with like cutting up a sock and tying it and duct tape. And what he found is that if you can separate the boys from Big Al, you're cooler, you're drier, and you're not going to get as irritated. As if you're ready to finally upgrade your underwear game and give Big Al and the boys a little knuckle bump, I want you to hit that link down below and check out Sheath. That link is special. It's going to give you 20% off your entire order. The discount will be applied at checkout. All right, they've got a lot of super badass styles. All right, simple, clean, basic black. Here's another one of my favorite, the gray. I absolutely love. It comes in your basic colors like white, but they also, here's another black one, right? This one is a new pair that I got, insane. But they also have like some fun ones, right? Like camo, are you kidding me? And here's another one that's just awesome, right? Bamf, bad motherfucker. Guys, I'm telling you, hit the link and read the reviews. It's not just my opinion. Everybody is like, yo, Sheath are the best underwear out there. They're the most comfortable, they're breathable, and when you separate Big Al and the boys, amazing things happen. Not only do you look gigantic, you also are gonna stay drier, you're gonna stay fresher, and it literally is more comfortable as opposed to a meaty mess of packed meat down your pants. Sheath, get sexier underwear, period. Hit the link, 20% off, limited time, get them. The next manhood mistake that is absolutely damaging and destroying your package is actually a lack of sleep, right? Now you're like, yo, how's that affecting Big Al? The reason is because if you're not getting enough shut-eye, your body is actually going to release the stress hormone cortisol. Cortisol, horrible in terms of blocking testosterone production. The University of Chicago actually did a study that was amazing. They found that guys that got an average of 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night saw a 15% lower testosterone level as opposed to the dudes that got 7 to 8 hours. Gentlemen, the fact is, if you want Big Al to be strong and sexy, you need to do more than just get frisky and freaky in bed. Which brings me to the next biggest manhood mistake that's damaging Big Al and the boys, and that is not using them. Gentlemen, think of it like your muscles, right? When you go to the gym, you pump iron. What happens? You fill it with blood. The more you do it, the bigger and stronger and harder it gets. Same thing with Al. If you're somebody that's like, yo, I'm not touching it because I'm no fapping it, okay, that's fine. Just understand that by the time you get back to business, Big Al might not be as big and meaty as possible. Use it or lose it. You've heard that saying, right? Same thing happens with Big Al's size. You got to use it or you lose the potential for it being big and filled with blood. Because when you routinely fill it with blood, you're actually stretching out those blood vessels. The more you do it, the bigger it gets, the better it gets, and the bigger Big Al becomes. The next biggest manhood mistake that is damaging Big Al and the boys is alcohol, right? First, let's talk about beer. Beer has hops. Hops is a phytoestrogen. Estrogen, not great for testosterone production. Dudes that drink a lot of beer oftentimes are a little bit chubbier. We already talked about that, but your testosterone level is not as great, which means your Big Al and the boys aren't going to be as awesome. Alcohol also does a few other unfortunate things to Al. Number one is you can't get it up, right? If you drink too much, you try to get frisky and freaky with that spicy senorita, and you're like, yo, it's not you, I promise, it's Al, right? It's the alcohol preventing the connection from brain to Al, right? It gets disrupted. Something else that gets disrupted is your judgment, right? You'll be out. You'll be like, damn. Normally, you'll see that spicy senorita if you're sober and you'll be like, no way, right? But when you're drinking, you're like, man, maybe you get a little bit horny. You're like, yeah, okay. You go home, you do your thing, hopefully, but you got to make sure you wrap that rascal because that is the next and last thing that can absolutely sabotage your package, and that is unprotected action. Because if you don't wrap that rascal, have unprotected action, number one, you could get somebody pregnant, and if you're not wanting it, that is not a good thing. But also, in terms of Al and the boys, you can contract an STD, and there are certain STDs that have been shown to absolutely annihilate sperm production long term. If you're somebody that is routinely like doing like freaky, crazy moves, or being too aggressive or rough, or trying to stretch them and doing that like gel queen thing or whatever, gel queen? Whatever, it's not good, potentially, and you can actually damage the vessels, you can damage the soft, amazing tissue of Big Al. Gentlemen, you are amazing. Now, hopefully, after this video, Big Al is a little bit bigger, and your boys are little geniuses.